have like a national or international headquarters.
This meeting is being recorded.
Have all the power and control, and really don't necessarily have to take into account the needs or the unique, I'm going to say DNA for lack of a better, the unique design, the unique whatever about a local community. You know, that being different from when Paul was writing to different churches, right, in different cities, he was writing to that church with their unique issues. You know, when he was writing to the Corinthian church about the issues with hair and coverings and all that, that was related to issues with the prostitutes in the temples.
Exactly.
At the churches in Corinth and the things they were dealing with, which were different than what he was dealing with some other group. And so, I mean, just I love what you're sharing about that, because I think God is doing something to try and help really almost like revamp, but it's old vamp, because it's like the way he was doing it from the beginning. Like God always from the beginning was operating as a family. And, you know, it's something that you were telling me that you've had a
What'd you do, honey?
Now what? And find out how to deal with the things that are inside of me that need to be reconstructed, because there has been some things that have happened in this journey that have tainted my true self. And because I had no idea that that was happening, it happened in spite of me. So that's why I believe there's condemnation, but God already had a plan to rid us of it. But we have to avail ourselves and be willing to be cleansed. David said it best. He said, create in me a clean heart and renew a right spirit within me. He said, take some hyssop, whatever it takes, in order to cleanse me. So it's not a new concept at all. It's just that we got stuck in this journey, I believe, in the church journey, because that is not something that God wanted for just this new place that we are. He wanted us to be that way all along. Because if I am broken and fragmented, it's going to be difficult for me to connect with a God that is whole. Because maybe a piece of me, but there's some other pieces that's going to be doing their own thing, because, I got conflict going on with them. So, this one says, oh, yeah, I'm all for it. I believe when Jesus told his two disciples that he has to watch while he went to pray, he says, yeah, your spirit is willing, but your flesh is weak. I believe that had something to do with it, because, a part of them, really wanted to do the right thing, but there was this other part that just was doing its own thing. But I find it to be true with us as humans as we go through this journey. And my thing is, I don't think that it's impossible for us to achieve the goal. See, I'm not there thinking that, oh, I'm just human, so this is going to always be. God did not give me a goal that I could not achieve. But the thing about it is that I have to participate no matter how uncomfortable, no matter how much it hurts to let go of the familiar, no matter what, so that I can get to the new. And what I have found is, as much as we think we trust him, we don't trust him enough. Because when I trust him, then I let go of all of that stuff that I think I know better than him. think that's where the statement came about being holier than thou. You know, there's so many things that connect with my brain now about, oh, that's probably how that came about. But I didn't connect it at the time. But really,
So we
are in places that we don't have to be. When I'm listening to people, because I was in deliverance ministry, all of that stuff, spending hours trying to cast out a demon, when really all I have to do is show myself with him and rest and recognize that, yes, some of these things only come out by praying and fasting. But if I'm praying and fasting all the time, I don't have to stop, have an event of praying and fasting, and then I'm able to do it. But if I'm living an aligned life all the time, when I encounter any opposition, then I'm prepared. Whether that opposition is internal or external, I am prepared because I am engaging in the prescription that Father has given me, because He says, I'll never leave you or forsake you. I am your counselor. I am your teacher. But you need to listen to me. You got to pay attention. It's not going to just happen just because I'm available, but I'm not going to force myself, because I've given you this thing called a will, because I don't want you to come to me unless you desire, because it won't be real love if you do. I want you to be willing to come. One of the other reasons that I don't try to scare people and do loving God is because I know it doesn't work. When I was a kid, when I got punished, did it change my behavior? Absolutely did not. Was I one, because I grew up with corporal punishment parents? They gave me signs. Some of you out there, don't send me any messages. That was the way it was. And I'm fine.
So it was, right? Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I mean, like there's a measure in which, behavior, God isn't into behavior management in the sense that He knows if all you do is manage behavior, you'll never fix the root problem. Wow. He's after the root problem, which will then fix your behaviors. Now, real quick, before we go any further.
I love that, Michael.
Before we go any further, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, I want us to talk about how, kind of your perspective on how our personal identity, and our understanding of that influences how we live together in community. So stick around, everybody, for the break. We'll be right back.
Hey there. Thank you for joining Kingdom Talks. We are taking a short break to share with you the life-changing online course called Ultimate Impact. Gil and Adina do an amazing job taking the complicated and making it simple and applicable for your life. Ecclesia groups are using this course to shift their thinking into the next stage paradigm. Yeshua spoke of power, authority, love, and oneness that we have yet to walk in. So if you're ready to deconstruct limiting beliefs in order to step into what Father is doing now, this course is for you. Sign up today at kingdomtalkmedia.com under the Courses tab. Now, back to the show.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Kingdom Talks. I have with me Deneen Penny Rhymes, and before we get started jumping into the second half of the show, I just want to encourage you guys, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the love button, because we all love Deneen because she's amazing. But just help get the word out, invite a friend or two, just let people know about this message, because this is one of those things that, Deneen and I may be here talking, but it's the kind of thing that we can all do our part with what Gil calls next stage evangelism, help kind of share the message and get the word out. So Deneen, right before the break, we were talking about how, the difference between like behavior management and really God doing inner heart change. Can you share a little, just in your own journey, your own experience, things God's, talked to you about how does our personal identity influence how we live in community? Because a lot of what you were sharing a bit ago was about how, when you have people building and growing and trying to live in a community, but you don't really understand your own identity, like it doesn't work. Exactly. Right? So I mean, like, what are your thoughts or things that you want to share with people about that?
I think I'm going to read these 3 short passages from my book and to start off. And one of them says, when we
what's the book called again? Deneen, just
it's called The Truth Will Make You Free.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. This one says, when we feel the need to be right or prove our point, it's because we identify who we are with what we do or know. Who we really are is not a contest of wit or skill. Whatever we contribute is valuable. We are simply enough.
Froze up again, Cheryl.
I'm sorry.
Okay, does that make sense?
We
to you?
froze up for a minute,
Yeah,
but
it
it looks
does.
like we're
I love
good.
it because it's
Okay.
that's something I grew up. So for a little my background, my dad's an Episcopal priest. He retired a couple years ago, so I grew up in the sort of like normal church system, and there was a lot of maybe emphasis, not always spoken, sometimes an unspoken emphasis on being right and everything.
Mm. Should turn the TV off. See what else.
Blessed by the diversity. I am so when I prefer, being engaging with people that don't think exactly like me, because what it does is it gives me a clearer and a more broad view of who he is, because we are all made from him. And so when you're different and you think differently, what happens is I'm enlarged, I'm enhanced, I'm made better as a result of me being in your presence. So yeah, I love that. And that for me is one of the foundational things of operating in community well, just changing the way I think about it. One of
We
the other
can't live in an echo chamber. Like if we live in an echo chamber where it's always the same thoughts, the same ideas, you're going to hit an upper bound of how far you can grow.
Yeah.
You'll grow, right? Because you have people coming together and sharing ideas, but eventually there's going to be this sort of like group resonance of the group DNA or the group thought, and it's going to end up reaching, and yes, God continues to give wisdom and insights, so it's not entirely true, but without any kind of ability to disagree, without a culture that says it's okay to have different thoughts, you do hit some sort of upper limit that you're going to mostly stop at, or at least plateau at, because you can't have different ideas, new thoughts, not okay.
Yeah, so true. When this is not taken heed to, the knowledge, it's really head knowledge. When we just have head knowledge and not heart knowledge, it diminishes our quality of life immensely. So I can have all this stuff up in my head, but until my heart is shifted and my heart is changed, I actually, even though I am valuable, I diminish the manifestation of that value, because I'm stuck in this place right here that is unflexible. But when my heart is changed, and my heart is, whatever you want to call it, when it's softened, I open myself up to a wellspring of possibilities. And what happens is I no longer am really that moved by the things that you say that I don't get. It doesn't affect me at all. It doesn't make me have a queasy feeling. It doesn't make me feel like I need to, straighten you out or even express what I say. Sometimes it takes me to a place of contemplation to hear, because I'm honoring you. I'm appreciating you. I'm understanding that you have received something that I have no knowledge of yet. The next thing I want to bring up is this: the knowledge we have obtained, our education, our achievements, our physical appearance, how we look and how we, work so hard to look a certain kind of way, our family lineage, our belief systems, our nationality, our race, or religion. None of these things are who we are. We are not the sum total of any external temporal thing. We are eternal beings, and we are simply enough. These are my belief systems. This is why I can get along with anybody, anytime, and stuff. So, what you think of that? Because I got one more after that. This is all community stuff for me.
I think that's so good. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, one of the things I think of when I think of the church, right? Especially more like charismatic churches. That's where I've been in a lot of my adult life, right? Was, God brought me from the Episcopal Church through stuff into the charismatic church, and then kind of from there into whatever it is that we're calling this now, right? But
Exactly.
but I really think of it as like new creation church, new creation ecclesia. But there's this huge emphasis on the fivefold ministry, right? On the apostle, prophet, evangelist, pastor, teacher, and there's, whether it's meant to be that way, as far as whether people are, let's put it this way, whether people are intentionally communicating the message or not, the subtext of the message is that the most spiritual people are somebody who operates in one or more of those fivefold callings, right? But the thing is, at the end of the day, one, that in Ephesians 4, there's a passage that talks about that it has an until, meaning that there's a known end date, right? Even if we don't know the end date, God knows the end date. There's an until, because there's a goal beyond that.
Yeah.
But on top of that, our identity isn't based on whether you're an apostle, whether you're a prophet, whether you're a pastor, any of those things. I mean, I heard somebody say one time, he's like, if you go to heaven, right, God's not going to turn around and be like, hey, prophet. Like, that's not what he's going to call you. You're going to have thousands of people turning around, turning their head if you just said, hey, prophet, right? Like, you have a name. You have an individual identity that God knows you by. And, yes, I believe the fivefold are a gift of Jesus Christ to the church, like the Bible says, but you personally, that's a function you're performing in the time realm. That's not who you are, right? Who you are is much more expanded and much broader and much bigger than that.
Absolutely. We are not what we do. I wrote a book called God's Perfect Order, the Fivefold Ministry. And I wrote it during a time when I was in traditional church and they didn't believe in nothing. The pastor, maybe an evangelist, and the teacher. Pretty much that's it. So the Lord revealed to me the significance of us working together as a team. So every one of these offices are important, but they were never meant to be a hierarchy. They were meant to supply the church with what was necessary for us to come together in unity and a bond of love, so that we can get more knowledge of who he is. So because we don't all have everything, like we keep talking about, each of these gifts is like a specialty, like a doctor. There's some that, specialize in feet, some in ears, some in, whatever. And so we can spend our concentrated time tuning our craft or perfecting our craft. We have been given these gifts not for ourselves, not so that we can be, served, but so that we can equip the body to become whole. And so one of the things that I find interesting is because when broken people get a hold of anything, it can be perverted, because the portal is open for the lie to come in to deceive and to cause the very thing that was meant for good, like at the end of Genesis, Joseph said, what was meant for evil, God meant it for good. And so as we are maturing sons now, as we are maturing children or saints, whatever you want to call us, a rose by any other name, whatever. So I'm not caught up in that either. But whatever we are here at this juncture in time because God is saying, I now am inviting you to learn a little bit more. Because I believe at this place in history, you're able to absorb it. When Jesus said, I'm not telling you this now because you won't be able to get it. So we're in a place now where we're finding where people are able to get this next level of understanding of him. So we're able to get it. And even though it appears that it's repeated from the early church, we even have something that they didn't have. You know, one of the things that I always think about was, Elisha said that he desired a double portion of Elijah. The double portion is this. It's what God gave Elisha, what God gave Elijah, and the double is because now it is impacted upon what was innately given, and in addition to what was given by someone else. That's what I believe is happening to us. We're getting a double portion, or how many other degrees we want to call it, quadruple portions or whatever, but it's just the point for me, the principle of it all, so that we may be able to know him. And that's the whole goal. The more I know him, the more the manifestation of who I am becomes. And the more of the manifestation of who I am becomes, the more useful I am. So it's not what I know, it's not what I've learned, it's what I actually become. So I know and learn things so that I can become, not just for the sake of knowing, not just the sake of me having an upper hand, but so that I can actually transform into this being that I was initially, set out to be by a father before the interruption came and caused me to suck in to some stuff that was never meant to be a part of who I am. Yeah. Does that make sense to you?
Oh yeah, so much so. I mean, and I love the passage it does. And the passage you were referencing where Jesus was saying, it's a favorite verse of mine, because he basically says, like, you don't have the weight carrying capacity that you need to handle everything that I'm trying to tell you. Like, I have more to say to you than you can now bear or handle or contain. So when the Spirit of truth comes, he's going to lead you and guide you into all truth. He's going to take what is mine and he's going to declare it to you. He's going to make it known to you. Like, all of the things that I want to give you, Jesus was saying, I'm still going to give you, right? We're just going to do it kind of stretched out over time instead of all at once, because you can't handle it all at once. And that's okay. But that's exactly what you were saying. Like, we're perpetual students of our Father. Like, we're perpetually in this place, or need to be in this place where we recognize that, we're continually being led by the Spirit. We're continually being guided. We're continually growing more and more into the fullness of the image of our Father in heaven, who, Jesus Christ, is the image of the invisible God. Like, we're being conformed into the image of Jesus Christ, and he looks like the Father. And like, it just gets, I don't know, it's just this amazing union that he's building us all into. And it's exciting because, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what I was going to say next. It's just, it's an exciting process. And I'm excited to, to get to keep walking this out with people like yourself.
Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful. Before I read this last passage that I wrote in the book, I want to say this. Not only is he giving us in doses the revelation of who he is, he's giving us in doses the damage that was done. So it's like he strategically takes us to the next place, because we need to identify, just like if I have cancer and I go to a doctor and I never tell him any symptoms, he's not going to give me the tests in order to identify what that is. So you being a nurse, you understand that. I'm using an analogy that you probably should be using, because
it's so true though. Like the symptoms are something that helps point to the nature of the problem, and when you understand the nature of the root cause of the problem, then you can fix the problem.
That's how I feel about the things that are going on with us that are not perfected yet. So I don't find them to be, I don't label everything as, the devil did this and that. No, I want to, it doesn't matter how it got there. The point, it doesn't belong there. And from that point, if I'm not operating in pure love, then whatever is preventing that needs to go. So I am interested in identifying whatever it is. If I have to go back to, age, embryo, whatever, it doesn't matter. However I need to get there to get it out, I am open and available. And so some of the stuff is so damaging and so painful because people go through trauma. There's some things that have happened to people that, make me like, whoa. How can you even be okay right now? But God. And so
Yeah.
I believe he reveals and allows us to have even protective mechanisms that those of us who are supposedly spiritual have demonized. And it is not healthy. You know, we look at someone who's promiscuous and then we want to label them, you know, look at that heart, this, that, and the other, not understanding that that person is broken and is desiring of the very same thing you are, which is love, and has not been guided in a way to get it, but only that portal was open for that liar to come and direct them in a way that is self-destructive. If we really have the heart of God, then we're not judging others. We're actually listening and learning so that we can be of assistance. And if we ourselves are not equipped to be of assistance, then what we should be doing, you know this as a nurse, referring them to a place they can get the help.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah,
that's it for that. I mean, really.
No, it's so true.
But you could have had this one more after you finish.
Yeah, well, no, I was just what you were saying. Like I was on a mission trip with Overseas Missions in Peru. It was Peru. You'd think I'd know what country I went to, right? But I've been on a number of trips with Overseas Missions. It's a fantastic organization if somebody wants to do short-term missions. So we were in Peru, and and you have to hear the whole idea before somebody starts making judgy thoughts about this. But what we did is one night we went and you'll understand why in a sec. We paid prostitutes for their time so that we could take them to a group room at the hotel and honor them and throw them a party. But we felt like it was important to value their time and to pay them what they would have been paid were they doing something else with somebody else. But obviously we didn't do any of those things. We got to pray for them. We got to prophesy over them. We got to, and connect with some of these women that, other people locally had been ministering to, and we were just able to come and do it in a different way. It wasn't better, wasn't worse. It was just different because we were coming from a different perspective,
Right.
And so they received a little bit differently as well. But the thing about that is, in talking to some of these women, what we discovered was the amount of money that they could make in one night was equivalent roughly to what they could make, actually even in a few hours. What they could make in a few hours in one night is equivalent to what they would make doing back-breaking work for an entire week. And most of what these women were doing was they were trying to feed their children.
Sure.
And so you look at that and we can judge somebody and be like, oh, they don't have the right behavior, right? But what we're bypassing that they're not necessarily even wanting to do this always, that they're stuck in a situation and they don't see a way out. They feel trapped. Right. And so if all we're going to do is judge the external view, it's like you're saying, what does something look like versus do they have the option and the opportunity to step into something different? And I think that's part of what God's trying to bring us into is how do we provide the solutions for the problems so that instead of us just judging the symptoms, right? The symptom is that they're on the street doing stuff, right? That's the symptom of the problem. The underlying problem is poverty and having an issue that they don't know how to solve. And so are we just going to go blame them or are we going to look toward responsibility? Like, I think there's this huge thing of blame versus responsibility in the body. We're always looking, whose fault is it? Well, the devil made me do it, or this made me do it, or whose fault was it? But I think the model Jesus gave us, he says, like the man who was born blind, he's like, the disciples are like looking for blame. Well, they're like, well, was it, did he sin or did his parents sin so that he was born blind? And Jesus is like, no, this is not a blame issue. It's a responsibility issue. Neither of them sinned, but I must work the works while it is day. Night is coming when no one can work. Like, I don't remember the whole passage of what it says. I'm paraphrasing. But basically, Jesus said it's not a blame issue. It's a responsibility. So I'm going to take responsibility, and I'm going to do something to shift the situation.
Yes. Which brings me to one of the things that I do now is I go into the inner city schools and teach literacy. One of the things that it's not like that people in our country do not like to talk about is the results of slavery. I don't hold animosity or grudge because I have, like Dr. Martin Luther King and like a few other people, decide to be a part of the solution and not be holding grudges and all this kind of stuff. But one of the things that is not emphasized, and the reason why I do it is because, the recidivism rate for African American men is high. but it's not because of moral depravity, it's because of economics. And it's not talked about. It's always talking about, oh, this terrible human being, this blah, blah, blah. And the reality is we got to recognize it without blame, but deal with solutions. We don't have to sit around blaming, the system or the structure and this and other. And all of us know what happened, but how are we going to do something about it? We cannot continue in a system that actually does not have that community in mind and expect things to change. So I decided that I may not be able to reach a lot of people, but I can go to the school that's less than a mile from my house and go in and engage some of the kids there. And perhaps one may be able to escape that that cycle. Yes, thank you. Cycle. And so when you talked about that, I mean, those are the kinds of things that have come out of my heart change, my mind change, the way I think about things. Because really, I believe that if I don't think like Father, then I am really not actually. I'm hypocrite. I'm a hypocrite. Really.
Yeah.
I mean, let me just put it blunt. I either take on his way of thinking or hold on to some of the antiquated ideologies that I have that really are not anything but trying to put new wine in old wineskins, so to speak, and nothing ever happens except a burst, and then nobody's able to drink. It burst open and then there's nothing to feed. So I believe in being a part of the solution opposed to a part of the problem. And for me, it is a blessing to be able to interact with so many diverse groups of people, because I think that the person that God has made me into has changed some people's views of the culture that I come from, because they see that I'm just a person. I'm just a person, just like you, and and I'm able to love you, and I'm not mad at you, and you don't have to be afraid of me, and none of that stuff, because my interest is that we come together in love and unity. The last thing, because I know we're out of time, I'm gonna just read this, and if you have time to respond to it, then that'll be good. But the last one on the same topic is, when we allow external temporal things to become our identity, we become dependent on those things to make us whole and complete. Without those things, we can begin to feel a deep-seated sense of lack or incompleteness or emptiness. So we have been created with everything we need to be whole, complete, and to fulfill our divine purpose. We simply are enough. When we become grateful for who we are right now, our worth barometer starts to rise. We simply just are enough. So that was the end of the 3-part thing that I was sharing.
That is so good. I love everything you're sharing. Well, listen, we're gonna finish up the broadcast in just a minute or two. But if somebody was wanting to connect more with you and the things that you're sharing, your books, etc., what is a good way for them to reach out to you?
Well, my book is on Amazon. They can get that. But if they want to reach me directly, my email is pennydeneen@gmail.com.
Perfect. So, and do you have any like final words or anything that you want to just share with anybody? And before you say that, I should say one last thing. We're going to go at the end, after the broadcast, we're going to go to what's called the Deeper Dive. And if you want to join the Deeper Dive, you can go to kingdomtalksmedia.com and you can sign up. And I don't remember, there's like a small donation, but you can sign up to join the Deeper Dive. And this is like a behind the scenes kind of extra cut, if you will, of getting some of the wisdom and insight with the guests that we bring onto Kingdom Talks, as well as it also helps support Kingdom Talks and make this message possible. So encourage you guys to go to kingdomtalksmedia.com and check that out. But with that said, Deneen, are there any last words or things that you want to just leave with people as we close up for the night?
Yes, 3 sentences. 1, when we change our mind, we change our lives. That's important. When we change our mind, our mindset, we change, our lives change. And the other thing is, my prayer for everyone is to be filled with the knowledge the knowledge of who he is, and be willing to experience the uncomfortability of getting understanding, that we may walk in his wisdom. I believe that will change community. I'm telling you, I have not seen nor ear heard, that will change community.
So good. Well, listen, Janine, I love you. Thanks so much for joining us. You stick around for the deeper dive, but everybody else, just want to say thanks for joining us on Kingdom Talks. Please, like I said, like and share. Just let people know if you have a friend that you really feel this would speak to. Please just go and send them a message. Let them know about this so they can benefit from just the real wisdom and depth of insight that Janine shared with us tonight. Thanks, everybody, and have an amazing night.
Bless you all.
Thank you for taking time out to listen to Kingdom Talks. You can find out more about Kingdom Talks Media and our mission to unite in faith and grow as mature sons at kingdomtalksmedia.com. Please continue to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Spreaker, Spotify, iTunes, Fringe Radio Network, and many more places. Go to our website to find links to all of our media outlets, as well as fantastic online courses and conferences, including the life-changing interactive course, Ultimate Impact. Last but not least, we ask that you consider partnering with us to fulfill the mission to get these messages to the world. To become a partner, go to the Partnership tab on our website. Thank you, and until next time, live a blessed life and keep carrying us in your heart and sharing us wherever hearts are open.
All right, Cheryl. I don't know. Trying to find. I used to be, and I definitely pay for the deeper dive behind the scenes, but I don't know how to get there anymore. Let me see. Well, I think that's going to be it for tonight, Cheryl.
Okay, that's fine. I'm good. Thank you for
Yeah.
including me. Thank you. I appreciate y'all.
Yeah. Glad you did that. Yep. And okay, yeah, because I can't find it, and I know I've got
Not
it. I'm
a
gonna try to
problem.
look on my email. But yep. Good night. Talk to you later.
Okay, good night. Have a good night, you too.
Yep. Thank you. Bye bye.
All right.